Welcome to the Farm RPG Podcast. I am your host, Bhelogan. This episode is brought to you by the letter W. That's right, we have 3 player spotlights, all whose names begin with W. First we have wata, then we have wafflez, and we follow that up with a player spotlight with Weapon Ultima. Before we dig into that, we did have a question come in from Chaos Master for myself or Code Ranger saying, can we have an episode talking about the new perk from the tower and how it affects the game, i.e. the increased chance, especially the perk Eagle Eye, which do not specify the increased percentage for finding rare items. So I've been trying to get Code Ranger scheduled to come on and talk about tower for a little bit. It's been busy, haven't been able to get that scheduled yet, but I will briefly go over the perks and what they give. So at level 10, you get the Diary of Odin, and this one makes your crops grow 10% faster. Might not seem like a lot, but by the time you've unlocked this, most people already have the 80% perk. So you're going from 80 to 90% total grow time, or less grow time, which effectively doubles how quick things grow. So this one is huge. All of these perks are really, really good, but that one is great for your farming. It just speeds everything up. Next, you have the Baltruvian Scales at level 20. This is a negotiator perk. It gives you an extra 10% on silver selling prices. At level 30, you have the Odthorn's Charm. And this one is a artisan perk. It gives an extra 10% less crafting cost on everything, which, especially when you start doing spheres, is really good. It just brings in more profit for those. Then at level 40, you have the Stones of Gallodor. I'm making up how to say these as we go. That one is a boost on Pet Lover, giving an extra 500 XP every time you pet or feed an animal. We've updated most of the charts to show that it's a decent chunk in increasing how quickly things grow and mature. You have the Rune Cube at level 50, and this is the one that increases your chance to drop rares. So I know Code Ranger is still gathering data on this. My understanding is once you have this artifact, when get a drop, you have a roll on the table, and basically it adds, I think it was an extra 10% to the rarity chance, roughly is what we were thinking, of any particular item to drop. So it just makes the rares a little bit more common. Again, I think we're still kind of parsing through numbers to figure out exactly what that does, but that's our best guess at the moment. Level 60 brings Growth Medallion 1, which unlocks a perk that lets you increase your orchard by 400 more for all of your trees. So great for high-level players. Once you have big inventories, more trees means more you can do every day. And then you have the Dorito, or the Trigon Knot, at level 70, and that just gets an extra 100 fish for every net you cast, or every large net you cast, which just makes that's even more profitable. And the next two are some of the favorites. At level 80, you get the Friendship Bracelet. This basically turns all your townsfolk into pets. Every hour, one of the townsfolk will bring you between 5 and 15 of an item, usually orange juice, OJ, grapes. It can be oranges and lemons, apples, apple cider, or nets. And the nice thing about this is even if your item cap in your mailbox, it'll still be brought. So someone can't just fill your mailbox and stop you from getting stuff from the townsfolk. Then at level 90, you get the Headdress of Luna. And I know we've raved about this on the podcast multiple times, but this unlocks Resource Saver 3. There's an extra 20% chance the items are duplicated when crafting. So the previous perks are 20% total. This brings it to 40, but when you craft an item and the items are duplicated, you have a chance to have those duplicated again when you recraft those items. So without it, it ends up being about 25% more total items that you craft. With it, it ends up being about 66% more total items that you craft. So pretty big bump. And then, of course, we have the Strange Gem. Not a precious jewel, mind you, Fox Mulder, just the Strange Gem at level 100 that doesn't have a purpose just yet, but we are hearing rumors and things swirling around. So there you go. There's Bhelogan's crash course on the tower artifacts and the perks they give. Now, do keep in mind that just unlocking the artifact doesn't give the perk. You still have to either go buy it with the skill point, or a couple of them are gold. All right, enough rambling from Bhelogan. Let's dig into this episode and some of these fantastic player spotlights. This is another player spotlight on the Farm RPG podcast. I am your host, Bhelogan, and with me today is Wata.
Hi, I'm Wata, also known as Player 64617. Thank you for having me on this wonderful podcast.
Well, thank you for asking me when I was going to invite you in chat the other day.
Sure, man.
You don't have to wait for an invitation for everyone else. Just ping me or Augie. Trust me, we want you on the show.
Well, I'm polite like that, you know. I'd rather wait for an invitation rather than force myself onto stuff, you know.
Got it. All right. So everyone that's like Wata, listen, you're invited officially. Got it? Okay.
Yeah, you. Exactly you. You who's listening. Exactly you. You know who I was talking about.
Yep. Don't try to get out of it. Yes, we're talking about you.
Yeah, so let's go on.
All right. So, Wata, how did you first learn about Farm RPG?
It's actually a funny story. I first started playing Farm RPG last year on the October 4th. One night around 3 a.m., I couldn't get any sleep. So instead of trying to close my eyes and count sheep like normal people do, I guess, I got on my phone, obviously, and decided to Google good ad-free phone games. And then I happened to stumble upon a Reddit thread where a person sang high praise of Farm RPG. So I decided to give it a shot, you know, and here I am until today.
Awesome. I think we have quite a few people who have found the game through Reddit.
I don't doubt it, yeah.
Fairly effective recruiting tool. And you said you've been playing since October. So you read about around the Halloween event?
Yeah, so about that. So I started playing around October, yeah, but I played for around a month at first, rigorously reading any and every guide I could find in the library, always trying to be efficient when I approached things, you know, and had very many Google Docs open at one point with the guides and stuff, constantly bothering global and help chat with questions as new player does. But then after about a month, I think I burnt out and stopped playing because back then the game was a bit rough compared to today. We had the whole auto-crafting fiasco, no dailies, no vault, no community center, no wheel, no grandmasters. Storehouse only gave like +4 inventory, I think. Nearly no quality of life updates had been implemented like they have been today. The game was in its early stages, I guess you could say that. Yeah, so I guess I got a bit burnt out after the first month. And then I took a long break. I think I came back after like 4 months or after or when the Valentine's event happened.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since the Valentine's event, I have been playing basically every day since I came back. I saw all the new updates and I had a ton of silver, a lot of gold from all the new updates from the Grandmasters and stuff. So I was very, very like perplexed, like, how do I have all this money right now, you know? And yeah, so since then I've been basically playing every single day. I don't think I have missed a single daily event since then.
Since Valentine's. Oh, that's cool. So
since Valentine's, yeah.
So what was it that made you come back? Did you just decide to try yourself, or did you get like a promotional email, or what was it that made you pick up the game again?
I don't think I did. I didn't get any promotion or anything, but I just thought I just wanted to check how my bank interest was doing, because I know I put like 500 million into my bank with the 4% interest, and I just wanted to check how far I got with that. And behold, my surprise, there was like a bunch of money everywhere and so many new updates. And I was like, wow, this game is not the same thing I played when I quit, or when I took a break, sorry.
Yeah, it's always changing and updating. It's pretty nice in that regard.
Yeah.
So you've been playing for quite a while. If you were going to pitch the game to one of your friends, how would you do that?
I think this game is very unique in that way regarding phone games that Firestream has made all the right moves with this game, from not making it a ad-infested pay-to-win game, as like 97-98% of free phone games today are, to adding updates that help with player retention, such as the daily tasks, the vault, the community center, the wheel, custom help requests, constantly adding new content, being very interactive with the player base, really listening to people's concerns and suggestions, and then swiftly implementing those solutions. And of course, fostering such a fun, kind, and helpful community that we have.
It's awesome. Yeah, the community, I think, is a big part of it for a lot of us, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So your username is Wata. I'm going to tell you what it makes me think of, and you can tell me if I'm anywhere near where it came from.
Go ahead.
I'm going to guess I'm totally wrong, but
go ahead.
When I see Wata, I think of something with a Boston accent. And they're saying, you know, I went to Starbucks to get some coffee, but all they had was water.
Where are you from? Where are you from?
Not from Boston, obviously.
Okay, but you're from the US, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I'm European. I used to play a Japanese 2D game, which had a lot of Japanese players in our European server. And one of my so-called clanmates had a name, Watashi no Enpichu, which means it is my pencil. Which I shortened down to Watashi no, and now shortened down to Wata.
All right, cool.
So it doesn't have any English like meanings, but it's just a thing I stick with. I stuck with over the years.
Kind of keep it short. I like that. So what is your native language?
I'm Estonian. It's a small nation in the European Union. Our neighbors are Latvia, Finland, Sweden, Russia, and yeah, those are it. We have 1.4 million people living in our country, so it's really, really small. And yeah, that's basically it. We are very developed. I don't like to give the annotation that we are like I don't know, yeah.
Okay, cool. So Estonian, is that a Slavic language?
No. Our language developed from the Uguri language, which is the Finland language, Suomi language.
All right, different base totally then.
Yeah, absolutely different base. I do speak a bit of Russian. I do speak a bit of Finnish. I do speak a bit of German. I do speak a bit of French. So yeah, we in the European Union are like that.
Yep. Yeah. My wife is from the Czech Republic. She speaks a ton of languages.
Cool.
Yeah. I can speak some Czech, which is, it's close enough to the other Slavic languages like Russian and Polish that when Americans speak it, I can kind of understand them, but I don't understand the Russians when they speak it.
When you speak one of the Slavic languages, you can like kind of make out what like the other people mean in their languages. You can kind of like talk to them with hands and feet, you know. But yeah,
you get through it. Yeah,
you can get through it. Yeah.
All right. Well, besides Farm RPG, what other games do you like to play?
I've been actually playing games on PC all my life. I have an older brother that helped me and taught me with English and PC games. Although we fought over computer time all the time, though, because we had one computer and we both wanted to be on the computer, you know. I started with single player games as a small child, like 5 to 6 years old, maybe, on a Windows 96 or 98 PC, I mean. We didn't have internet, so that's why we played single player games. Games I remember are like Age of Empires, GTA 2, Nox, a dinosaur survival game, I think, a sim like building game. Our dad bought a box of like 20 CD of Obscure games, played most of them, wasn't good enough to understand all of them. I didn't really understand English at that age, you know. So yeah, after that we got a Windows XP computer. I was like maybe 8 years old. My brother got really into RuneScape. I learned most of my English from observing the game and asking him to help me understand. I remember asking my brother about jumping at dinner, and my mom laughed, which means like jumping. And at dinner, and my mom laughed at my mispronunciation and explained what it meant and how it is supposed to sound. It is a very fun memory. Like I was really small. Yeah. My brother let me play on his accounts many times, and like I have really good memories with playing games when I was little. I've been a gamer like most of my life. I used to play very many like competitive shooters and things when I was little, but now these days when I don't have that much time anymore. I just mostly sit on Farm RPG and like just mostly look at my straw and rocks and masteries and stuff.
You don't quite need those twitch reflexes that you do in first-person shooters.
Well, sure. I don't think I'm not sure if I have them in me anymore. But I used to play like Counter-Strike 1.6. Like I got banned from public servers because people thought a kid couldn't be that good as I was, that I was cheating. I was like 11 or 12 probably. So after that, I thought like those people on those public servers are too bad anyway. So I found a community on Xfire. That was a channel back in the day, and IRC. To start playing 5v5 scrims at higher levels, which we dominated, by the way. After that, I moved on to another FPS called Call of Duty 4 Pro mod, which is a competitive mod that balances the game for fair skill gameplay. I was like 13, 14 then, maybe. We had a solid local team that won 2 local LAN tournaments, 3 online entry tournaments. Played that game for like a solid 4 years. Played Team Fortress 2 tournaments at that time as well, with 6v6 and 9v9 teams as well. Got a few medals out of that. I basically had to rent a warehouse to store all my medals and trophies,
Nice.
I was that good.
You've been quite the esport enthusiast.
Yeah, I was quite a gamer. But then school came and like real life came, and I didn't really have that much time to spend on the computer anymore. And yeah.
Yeah, that happens. We hit that stage in life where you gotta get through school, get in a position where you can take care of yourself, and then things start to free up a little bit more again after that. Yeah, definitely went through that myself. All right. Is there anything that you wish the Farm RPG community knew?
Like the whole community?
Sure, or maybe just that one player who seems to not get something.
I wish the community knew that most of the answers that you need, you will get from the library. Like, I'm not even being I'm not even like being difficult about it, but like you can find a lot of your answers from the library.
Who would have thought in a text-based game, if you did some reading, you could find the answers? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Otherwise, you can always get your help from the help or global chat. But yeah, the library will help everyone a lot. Like
right. You still have to read unless you look up a video.
Yeah.
Few of those, but
well, the videos, I don't think the videos even will help you a lot, because as I said, like when I started, I looked up like so many guides from the library to understand how the game went. And I think that the new players who are not wanting to, or who don't want to invest a lot of their time, not a lot, but that don't want to invest some of their time into the game, they won't get very far, because the game will like seem like too complex or like that for them. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. It seems simple, but there's a lot to it.
Well, yeah, there's not too much to it, but like you have to understand certain things, like how to like efficiently progress or like that. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we've definitely learned a lot about you, Wata, where your username came from, that you're a pretty good esports competitor.
Oh, I was the best. I was the legendary extraordinaire.
There we go.
I was the best there ever was. Don't mistake.
You have any other interesting facts about yourself you'd like to share with us?
I like to cook. I like children, not in that sense, but like I like to deal with children. I like Farm RPG a lot. I love this game. I'm a bartender. I write code. I write scripts for a certain website that I can't say. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much to me other than that.
All right, cool. Well, I think we learned a lot of interesting things about you anyway. So with that, then Wata, thank you so much for scheduling some time to come on and talk to me and let us get to know you a little bit better. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Can I give some shout outs?
Absolutely.
Okay, first of all, I think Firestream is an absolute genius, amazing person for developing such an awesome experience. I thank you so much for having me on this awesome podcast. Shout out to all the rangers and farmhands doing hard work, responding to problems swiftly. BMAC for all the golden eggplants. Tactical Ninja helped me out when I started. Night Fury for being a homie. Shouts to Fox Mulder for slipping precious jewels into people's pockets. Please give the dude his precious jewels in the game, by the way. Scam Likely, formerly Jello, for all the community giveaways she has organized. All the people constantly being way too kind in giveaways chat. I see Strawberry and Ratea are there all the time. All the people in help chat, always ready to help and answer questions. And Pluto, Chloe, Nico, Faust, FFFF, and everyone in Global that are always there to have a good time and banter with us. Sorry if I forgot everyone. Thank you for having me, and I wish you the best.
This is another player spotlight on the Farm RPG podcast. As always, I am your host, Bhelogan, a little under the weather today, but it is what it is. And with me this afternoon is the wonderful wafflez.
Hey there.
Thanks for joining our second attempt here in a couple months to get you on. But glad we got you rescheduled.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So, Waffles, you've been around the game almost as long as I have at this point. We passed your 1 year anniversary, it looks like a couple days ago, as of the time of recording.
Yeah, it's been a full year.
It's been a while. So how did you first learn about Farm RPG?
I think it's probably because I was just on the App Store and ended up giving me a recommendation because I was looking through so many idle games. Mm-hmm. But it's usually just a thing where I download it, I try it for about 5 minutes, and I say, nope, on to the next one. But I'd actually been looking for exactly this type of game for quite a while. And, there are several other games that are mostly text-based, but none of them really ended up doing it for me. Mm-hmm. So it was a really pleasant surprise to come across Farm RPG.
Now,
because yeah,
I was going to say most of the people that have been playing as long as you have, starting back in the middle of June, in those first couple of months, Farm RPG wasn't their first Firestream game. A lot of them kind of came from other places, so it's a little bit interesting that this is your first one, I guess. Yeah,
I actually ended up coming across another one. I don't remember what it was called afterwards, but yeah, beforehand, I had no idea. I hadn't ever played one of his games.
So over the year, Farm RPG has changed pretty drastically.
Oh, yeah.
From when you started back in June. I don't remember where we were at exactly at that point. We might not have even had nets yet. I don't recall.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Normally I ask people to kind of give their sales pitch for Farm RPG in a sentence. Since you've been around so long, let's change that up just a little bit. If you were to describe the difference between Farm RPG today versus a year ago in a sentence, how would you do that?
Wow. That's quite an ask. I would say that the game has vastly improved in every way possible in terms of user interface, general usability, just the expanded feature set. It's really impressive what a breakneck pace Firestream has been on this entire time, because the game has changed so fundamentally that it's almost unrecognizable, but in a good way. It's so much smoother. It's so much easier to do everything. There's so many more things to do, and all my biggest requests ended up being fulfilled. So I'm delighted with the progress that's been made.
So of those biggest requests, or any of them that you take credit for, like this was my idea that got implemented?
Well, I mean, I can't really take credit for anything because I don't know who else was suggesting what at any given time. But I've made so many recommendations. Poor Firestream, he's just been, throughout this past year, inundated with feedback reports, probably more than he would have liked. but I like to think that that things are better for it.
Yeah,
we'll see if he agrees or not.
Usually, yeah, most ideas I think he probably hears a couple of times, and then he'll implement what his variation of that is at some point. Or sometimes it's just so obvious. It's like, yeah, this needs to happen. And it kind of comes as a consensus in general. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't take credit for it if you had the idea and spoke up about it at some point, nor everyone else.
Well, I mean,
that was mine.
I could go. Oh, really? I could go through the messages, but it was just so many different things where, I would say, how about this feature? Or maybe try and tweak this, or I'm not sure this is working out quite the way intended. But he has been very patient with accepting my feedback, I'll tell you that. But one of the main sticking points for me, and one of the main reasons I've been so dedicated to the game and I became a patron and everything is because of one of the main stated goals of the game, for it to be ad-free, not to be pay to win, and not to be abusive like so many other mobile games out there. And, so anytime I had an issue with something or said, well, maybe this is a little bit too hard on players at this point, or, maybe we should be a little more generous on this end. He's happily taken that feedback, and I'm usually kind of the party pooper. I'm the guy who's just full on criticism most of the time, but it's all out of love, and I hope he knows that.
As long as it's positive criticism, it's fine. It's fine. But I have been on the end of tirades in chat in Titan Conquest over things in the past. I feel bad about it now. I'm like, man, there was no need for that.
Yeah, no tirades or anything, but definitely, let's say, sometimes forceful feedback. But it's been a wonderful experience, and a pleasure engaging in that kind of a thing. And it's pretty rare that you have a developer that actually listens to you and appreciates you. So I really appreciate that in particular.
Yeah, Firestream is definitely very, very passionate about and engaged with the feedback that he gets, despite the copious amounts. He clearly can't keep up with all of it, but he does. He does a good job.
Yeah, an excellent job. I'm honestly surprised. Personally, if it were me, I would have said, "Okay, buddy, we'll put you on mute for now."
I won't deny that does occasionally happen, but
probably for good reason then.
Yeah.
But anytime a new feature's been proposed, like on Patreon, like usually if 9 out of 10 people are positive, I'm the one going, well, hold on a minute now. There could be some unintended consequences and problems by implementing things this way. And so, I mean, honestly, sometimes I feel bad because I'm just I'm always hacking away at things, but it's always in service of the game.
Well, I can tell you it's better to do that out and point out those consequences than to have everybody say, okay, yeah, it looked great, have it go live, and then there'll be massive problems.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, the thing is that all these things are so incredibly complicated to implement, and there's so many features that he's working on at the same time that, it's got to be dizzying trying to keep track of everything.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that. So let me change gears just a little bit. Where did the username wafflez come from?
Well, about that, mainly because I had such a hard time picking a decent username. Back when I was an angsty teenager, it was, Dark Doomlord, Triple X, etc. To seem really edgy. And then these days, I try to pick something with a reference to my interests or a clever joke or something like that. And then I got to a point where I was just racking my brain trying to come up with a decent username. And I finally just said, you know what? How about something nice and pleasant? How about something that everybody likes? How about something that just brings a smile to your face? And I just thought, how about waffles? So that was it. So basically everywhere on the internet, I have some variation of waffles because, everybody likes waffles.
If you don't like waffles, there's something wrong with you. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Exactly. And the best part is anytime I go into any Twitch chat, anywhere, there's always a debate over like waffles versus cake or or pancakes or cupcakes or things like that. And everybody always chooses waffles. I'm very impressed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And I just drop into the chat and people are like, oh, man, I'm hungry, actually. Yeah, so not much of a story behind it other than, hey, it's simple, it's nice, it's pleasant, it works.
Sets the tone, how people are going to react with you. You're going to talk to Waffles or you're going to talk to Mr. Cat Skinner 079 or something, right?
Well, hey, I guess it depends on your audience and what type of game you're playing.
I guess so.
Anything is possible. But yeah, how can you be angry at waffles? They're delicious.
Only if you burn them in the toaster, reheating them. That's about it. Or when they fall apart and make a mess.
That's the toaster's fault.
Or the user.
Usually, yeah, exactly. The problem is usually right behind the keyboard.
Or the teenager trying to reheat it themselves that comes and calls for help when they've screwed it up. Yep.
Yeah, this is true.
Not that I'm salty about that ever happening in my house, but
Well, you know what? Waffles are an art, just like anything else in life.
So besides Farm RPG, do you have any other games that you play?
Right now I'm playing Hades a lot on my Steam Deck. I just can't get enough of that game. It's very rare that a game surprises me so profoundly and becomes like an instant top 10 for me. And Hades has definitely done that. And that's pretty much all my time's dedicated to that. I just can't get off of it.
Just those two. Yeah.
I log on in the morning, make sure the crops are planted. I've taken care of all the daily farm necessities. And, once that's done, I jump onto Hades and pass back the Farm RPG in between runs.
Nice. So for those of us that are not familiar with Hades, give us just a quick description of what that game is.
Well, it's what is known as a roguelike, which the term has become incredibly broad at this point. But generally what it means is that it's a game where permadeath is involved, meaning that when you die, your run is over. And you do have all sorts of perks and things that are permanent upgrades, but every run is different, and every run you get one life and that's it. And so in Hades, you're playing as the son of the god of the underworld, and you are doing everything you can to escape to the surface. And it's the voice acting, the soundtrack, the art direction. Everything is just so well done. And not only that, unlike most other roguelikes, it actually specifically references your past runs and incorporates your constant death and rebirth into the plot of the game. And that's something that I find very refreshing. And it's just impossible to put down.
There you go. That's a good plug. So it turns out from now the time of recording through July 7th, 2022, Hades is 40% off on Steam. You can pick it up for $14.99. Looks like.
Wow. Totally worth it. I'm playing it on my Steam Deck and it's full compatibility, and even better, I was able to remap the controls because it's a game that requires such rapid button presses that if you don't map the controls, you're going to have some hand cramps.
Yeah.
But it's gosh, for $15, absolutely worth it. I can't recommend it enough. Definitely deserved game of the year. Didn't get it from everyone, but just such a wonderfully put together game.
All right. Well, besides your love for Farm RPG and Hades, do you have anything else you wish the Farm RPG community knew?
Something I wish the community would know. Well,
doesn't have to be game related, just anything in general.
Well, I just say you should know that life is short, and you should take care of yourself, take care of those around you, and try to be a decent human being. That, I think, is is the best thing to know.
I agree with you. That's a good statement. Good statement. All right. Do you have any interesting facts about yourself you'd like to share with us?
Sure. I suppose I have studied 8 languages and I speak 5. I'm super into computer hardware building, retro gaming, all that sort of thing. And I also have a little music studio in my house, and I have enough guitars right now that it's getting out of hand.
Just enough.
The amount of guitars you need is always the amount of guitars you currently have plus 1.
Plus 1, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I keep getting asked, well, you're running out of room. Where are you going to put your next guitar? And I say, I will find room. Don't worry about it. But yeah, music, poetry, languages, that's computer hardware and games. Like, that's my jam.
Awesome. We have similar conversations to those one more things in our household, but it's about plants. And I'm always asking my wife, where are you going to put it? She's like, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Give me anyway.
Yeah, well, luckily I've got a massive garden and a greenhouse, and so there's plenty of space to let things grow. And even better, here it's insane. Things grow without any watering in the winter. Like you'll see them. This is kind of like the farmland, so you'll see people planting crops in December, and you'll see them growing green.
Yeah, some places are like that. We've lived in quite a few places, and all of them, the climate is drastically different as far as what will grow and what won't and when and where the sun's at. And it's a bit of an art to be a gardener for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, thankfully I have somebody to take care of that for me because I have a black thumb. I just I touch a plant and I kill it.
I'm just a manual laborer around here. Yeah.
Yeah, there
this,
you go.
mow that. Which plant?
Yeah,
Don't tell me
muscle.
the name. Tell me where it's at because I don't know the names.
Yeah, exactly. It's just and even worse when I'm told the name of a specific plant and it's like go deal with that plant and I'm like, there's 5 plants that sound or look like that. I have no idea which plant that is.
Right. You know the struggle of it.
It is a challenge, but hey, at the end of the day, gosh, the worst thing is when we overplanted zucchini, because I don't know if you've ever planted zucchini, but they grow they grow a lot.
Yep.
And it's to the point where we would just get so many of them that at the end of the day, we're just giving them to other people in baskets. It's like, all right, tonight, what's for dinner? More zucchini.
Nothing goes better with zucchini than zucchini.
Yeah, exactly. So at this point, I've become an expert of preparing zucchini in like 20 different ways because otherwise you'll lose your mind.
Try to dress it a little different.
Yeah. Got to grill them, got to boil them and chop them and do everything you can with them.
All right. Well, with that, Waffles, thank you so much for making some time to come on and talk to us and for letting the community get to know you better.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone.
This is the Farm RPG podcast. We have another player spotlight, this time with a player named Weapon Ultima.
How's it going?
Fantastic. So thanks again for agreeing to come on the podcast. We kind of talked about this a little before we were recording, but before I asked you in chat, I'm like, hey, we need another player with a name that starts with W to hop on.
Yeah.
You hadn't listened to the podcast and you're still like, I'm up for it. That was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think I heard you say, or I saw you say, I need somebody with a W name, and I hit you with the episode 1 or the prequel, the Star Wars prequel reference. The hello there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I hadn't checked it out, but I'm glad I did. It's pretty cool, and thanks for having me on. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So looking over your account, it looks like you've been playing since February. So you're a few months in now. Has it been pretty constant playing for you since then?
Yeah, it's I started in February, and I think it maybe took me a bit to get off the ground to sort of for the game to get its hooks in me. But once it did, yeah, I've pretty much been playing daily since then.
Nice. Glad to hear it. Now you're one of our beta testers as well, so you support on the Patreon for Farm RPG.
Yeah, that was another thing. I think once I started playing the game pretty constantly, I had a thought. I was like, well, I think I bought a couple of I purchased a couple of the monthly packs, and I was like, I've spent $60 on games that I have played for much less time. And so, it seemed like a no-brainer to me. I was like, this is a really cool game. It's made by one person. I absolutely want to support that. And so, yeah, at that point, I felt like I was paying for the time that I had already gotten out of the game. Plus, I wanted to be a part of supporting this thing and keeping it going. So yeah, it was a no-brainer.
Awesome. So where did you find Farm RPG in the first place?
So I'm probably not the first person or the only person who has this story, but I actually got here from the Besties podcast. I've listened to those guys for a while, and I think they mentioned it on one of their, what else are you playing segments. And I take their video game recommendations pretty seriously. So I sort of filed it away in the back of my mind. I didn't immediately download it. I think at the time I just wasn't playing any mobile games or wasn't looking for anything like that. But I think it just filed away in the back of my mind. And then, one day in February, I think I was just like, let me see if I can find something that I can, play on my phone to pass the time a little bit. And I remembered hearing about the game. And I was like, well, let me check this out. It sounds like something that might be, right in my wheelhouse. I like these kind of games. So I downloaded it. And like I said, I don't think it clicked for me right away. But once and shout out to you, Bhelogan, and everybody else who's written the community guides, your per tier list. I think Augie wrote the pet guide. and there's some other ones. And once I started diving into those resources and understanding the mechanics of the game, I think I started creating like midterm and long-term goals for myself. Okay, like here's some things that I can work towards, some progression that I can sort of create for myself. And I think once I had that, the game just, it really took off and I was hooked.
Yeah, it definitely helps to be motivated when you've got a plan of this is what I want to do and this is where I want to go, and you kind of chip away at that day by day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have had quite a few players come over from the Besties podcast, enough that on our subreddit we actually have that pin where it's mentioned.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Weapon Ultima, where did your username come from?
So that is a Final Fantasy reference for anyone who's played the series or JRPGs in general might have heard it before. And it originated from that way back when I first got the Xbox. I had to create a gamer tag to play online. And, I was, a guy who liked Final Fantasy. And I was like, well, I'm not super original. So let me come up with a name that I can maybe use online that references Final Fantasy. And my initial one was Cloud Strife, which is the protagonist from Final Fantasy VII, which was not very original. And of course, I wasn't the first person who had that thought. So I couldn't get the actual name. I think I had to use some numbers in place of some of the letters, like the I was a 1 and the E was a 3. And that I didn't really like that. It didn't look very clean. And at a certain point I was like, yeah, let me see if I can come up with something at least a little more unique so I don't have to use numbers. And of course, Ultima Weapon was taken. And so I just flipped the words, and Weapon Ultima, what do you know, was available. And I've stuck with it ever since.
There you go. That works out. It doesn't hurt that especially Final Fantasy VI is a huge inspiration for Firestream. And
oh man, okay, that
and the game in the world
now. Okay, yeah, wow, that is awesome. I didn't make that connection, but that is really cool.
Yeah, they've always been a huge influence in a lot of his games. But earlier on, we were discussing, when the game first launched, kind of, what's the setting, especially when we were first doing quest writing before we kind of established it. Because I was doing things in some like making references to watching reruns of the Back to the Future movies and playing D&D. And he's like, no, it's more like a 16th, 17th century kind of steampunk, heavily inspired by Final Fantasy VI. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, man.
We got it.
Perfect. Okay, well, then that even explains more why I'm so addicted to it.
Might have some influence there. All right. Well, I'm doing my questions out of order because I'm a total pro and always read my notes, obviously. You've been playing since February, so about 4 months. If you were going to describe Farm RPG to one of your friends, what would your sales pitch be?
My sales pitch. So yeah, this is probably, I imagine this is a question that stumps a lot of people because it is I feel like it is a hard game to do an elevator pitch for. But if I were to try and encapsulate it, I would say Farm RPG is an ever evolving game filled with friendly, like-minded farmers that simultaneously simulates both living on a commune and capitalism. That's as accurate as I can be. And it is uncanny that it can do both flawlessly.
The capitalism part's a little bit interesting when you compare giveaways versus trade.
It is yin and yang. It is complete opposites, but they exist simultaneously, and I pop into both, and it's just absolutely fascinating.
I think I'm allergic to trade chat. I stay away from that one myself.
It is. I think I hang out in trade chat a lot, but I mostly just watch. I very rarely buy or sell anything. I just kind of watch, and it's just like it's like watching I imagine it's like, probably not exactly one-to-one comparison, but if you're on the floor of the stock exchange, like watching people buy and sell stuff, this is kind of what it feels like.
Here we go. So we've dug into Final Fantasy. It's probably safe to assume you've played those games. What other types of games do you like to play? And is there anything else you're currently playing? Big into video games. I've been playing video games for the majority of my life. Games that I like are usually narrative-based single-player games, open-world exploration type games, space sim games. That's why the quest part of this game is I enjoy it so much.
as far as what I'm playing now, I was late to the party for the Nintendo Switch. I didn't get a Switch until last year. And so I've been catching up on all of the games that sort of came out. So I played a lot of Animal Crossing, which sort of has some comparisons to this actually. And then most recently, I have been making my way through The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is just a phenomenal game. And I completely understand why it was on most people's Game of the Year list for 2017, because it is, I think for me, it ticks so many just perfect boxes for the type of game that I really enjoy.
All right, cool. Sorry for the pause there. I've got another one of those texts I was talking about.
Oh, it's cool.
We're like, what does this mean? It means this. Come on, I'm on the clock for something else, Bhelogan. Quit doing work. All right, cool. So do you do primarily mobile gaming or PC gaming? What's kind of your main platform?
These days, well, so I've got the Switch, so I'm playing on that. I have a PlayStation. I do have PC, so I do have a lot of games that I will play on there. I don't actually do a lot of mobile games. I think, in fact, Farm RPG might be the only mobile game that I play. Most of them don't really grab me, and that's why I think when I first heard about the game, I didn't immediately, pursue it or download it, because I'm not much of a mobile gamer. But like for some reason, this one clicked for me. But yeah, the majority of my gaming is either console or PC.
So I haven't done consoles since the N64 in the 90s.
Classic though. That's probably, if you had to pick an era, that's one of the best ones.
That was. I mean, I can't hear Nine Inch Nails to this day without thinking I've got Yoshi behind me with the red shell in Mario Kart or something, right? But this time of year we have sales on, it seems like, a lot of the platforms, and I know Steam's got a lot of sales going on right now. And I'm looking at my wish list, and I've got like 5 things that are on sale. I'm like,
oh yes.
Oh, what one do I pick? And am I really gonna have time to play it?
Yeah.
If I do pick up something. Is there anything you're looking at in that kind of a situation? So
this didn't fall into the sale because it was cheap to begin with, but Vampire Survivors is one that I picked up the other day. And that's another game that is a very simple on its face, but is so much fun and just like so addictive. And it was only $3, so it was really a no-brainer. So that one's been, if I'm not playing Farm RPG, I'll dip into Vampire Survivors a bit and just do a few runs of that. And that game is very addicting. I would definitely recommend that for anybody that has an extra $3 laying around.
Just $3. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
And that is a game we've heard about on the podcast from a few other people as well. So it seems like it's highly, highly recommended.
Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic. The value for the what you pay is just unreal.
If there's anything you wish the Farm RPG community knew, what would that be? It doesn't have to be game related, could be just whatever comes to mind.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that, and I guess there would be 2 subsets of people that I would talk to. So for the new players, like I was, and still kind of am. I mean, I'm only 4 months in, so I certainly don't feel like I'm a veteran. But for the new people, I would say, don't be afraid to jump in. Ask for help. The community is filled with really nice, helpful people who want to help, want to answer your questions. No question is dumb. So ask your questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Giveaways chat is filled with beautiful people who just love helping other people. And it's anytime I need to pick me up, I pop over to giveaways, and I just come away feeling much better. And so, don't be afraid to ask for help. Set some goals for yourself. Set a goal. I think that helps gives a clear idea of something to work for. And that makes the game, for me at least, and I imagine for a lot of other people, more enjoyable. And then use a lot of the resources that Bhelogan and other people have put together, because that really helps. The game is surprisingly complex, and it really helps understand the ins and outs of this thing when you can look at some of these resources. And then for the veterans, for the people that have been here a long time, I would say I want them to know I am thankful for all the help that I have gotten during my time. And shout out to anybody who bought my carbon spheres when I was selling them in trade chat. You are the reason that I was able to get to level 99 exploring. So thank you.
There we go. I'll put another plug in for buddy.farm as well. I haven't been super up to date since the podcast launched on doing guides and videos, but Code Ranger's done a fantastic job with that website and keeping it up to date.
That's another one. Yep. I've got that bookmarked on my phone, and that is, yes, phenomenal, especially if you don't mind spoiling things for yourself a little bit. If you want to see just how many gold fish you might need for an upcoming quest, so you know how much to keep in your inventory. There's been plenty of times where I've like, okay, how many of this item do I need to keep? Oh, it's a lot. Okay. Yeah. So let me not sell these things right now. That has saved me more than a few times.
So you had, you'd mentioned one of the things that you recommend people do, and even for high level players, is kind of setting goals on what you're working on next. So for you in Farm RPG, what is it that you're currently working on?
Currently, so I think it's within the past week or so, I unlocked the tower, which I think anyone who's unlocked it or made their way through it knows it is a huge endeavor to even get there, and then climbing it seems like it is a huge thing. So I think I'm level 40 right now. I think I have enough ascension knowledge to make it 7 more floors. So I think right now I am on the grind to grandmaster some things, get some more ascension knowledge so I can continue to climb, and then working towards some of these merit badges, the ones that typically take time, but the exploring one, the crafting one, I like those. I like those shiny badges.
So you have the Fishing Addict 3 merit badge. Congratulations on that.
I do. And I mentioned creating goals. That was one of the ones that I did pretty early on, because I think I'm one of those weird people that actually kind of enjoys manual fishing. I don't know. I find it relaxing, a little zen. And so that makes you a little odd for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But it's like I primarily play on mobile, so I can just pop something on TV, sit there with my phone and kind of zone out a little bit. And so I saw that was a achievement, a merit badge. And when I first saw it, the prize for that is like 2 billion silver. And at the time, for me, that was an unfathomable amount of silver. I was like, oh my God, if I were to be able to get that, think of all the things that I'd be able to do in the game. And so I was like, well, this is something that I can actually like manually work towards myself. And so I just set a goal of fishing a little bit each day. And, it was one of the goals that I set for myself, and I wanted to do it, and I did not hate it. And it probably makes me in the minority, but I had a good time.
I enjoyed it for the first week or two, maybe. Maybe a little repetitive. All right. So turning away from the game a little bit, and let's talk about you. Just our last question is, if you've got any interesting facts about yourself you can share with us? Interesting facts about me.
This is the tough one. Let's see. I have web toes. No, I'm just kidding. I am one of those people whose voice does not match their appearance. So I imagine anyone listening right now, you can try to imagine what I look like, and you are probably incorrect. So I guess that's slightly interesting.
Okay. So you're telling me you're not 7 foot tall with extremely long flowing hair built like Fabio?
No, I'm not. You're very close. No, I'm just kidding. I wish.
Just going to say web feet. If you're from Oregon, that's pretty normal, but it's kind of a requirement with how much we lived in Oregon for about 8 years before we moved to the Southeast to Georgia and Florida. The company I worked for at the time was in Oregon. And so I'd talk to people I worked there all the time. And then when I told them we bought an umbrella, they're like, that's it. You can't claim you're from Oregon anymore. That's the turning point. I'm like, you don't understand. When it rains in Florida, you actually get wet. You got to have... Right. All right, awesome. Well, thank you, Weapon Ultima, so much for responding in chat, first of all, for the call-out questionnaire, W names. We're going to have you featured on our episode with a trio of player spotlights, all beginning with the letter W. And for scheduling some time on short notice to come on and talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.